This is Don May Jr. narrating reel 5 of the May family movies, taken in 1945. This reel was lost by Walgreens when I sent it to be converted, and all we have is this video that I took of the film before I sent it. That's me to the left, Donnie, and Dad, Donald May Sr. It's during the war. Dad is in the Navy. He's a lieutenant commander. This is our house in Bethesda, Maryland, on Arlington Road in Bethesda, Maryland. I am probably 3.5 or almost 4. And the war ends, and on this reel we're going to California. Dad's holding a camera there. That's me, Donnie. And now it goes dark. How long is it going to be dark? Not long. This is our house in Bethesda on Arlington Road. There, that's either John or me. And probably John. Yeah, that's John. This is, I'm on the right, John's on the left. And we both have Indian headdresses on. This is, it could be David Friday. Let's see. Okay, that was me. This is the Hortons, Mrs. and Mr. Horton. And Mr. Horton is the first person who got me interested in geology and rock collecting. Horton was a rock collector. And so I got an early introduction, and then at the age of 4, I moved to North Hollywood and found Mr. Cisco. That's Jean to the right, and John in the middle, and could have been Mrs. Horton or Mrs. Friday, but Friday was younger, so I think that was Horton. Now, I don't know who this is, who's working on the car. It could be one of the Sheltons, and this could be Steve Shelton, who is just slightly older than me. I'm on the right, and I think because the Sheltons are in this picture, Steve Shelton, about this time, I don't know, before or after, got polio and spent much of his life in the hospital. I don't recognize these people, but again, they could be Shelton people. That's me on the right, John on the left with our jack-o'-lanterns, so we know this is around Haloween, and both of our birthdays are in October, so we are basically, I think probably you could say John is almost exactly 2, and I'm almost exactly 4. Now this is Madison Shelton and Sarah Margaret Shelton, uh, who had the kids. Steve Shelton, who you probably saw. Walter, who's younger. This is John, and Jimmy Shelton is younger yet. So it could be that Walter and Jimmy had not been born at this point. That's the Washington Monument. And of course, Bethesda, Maryland is a suburb of Washington, D.C. And in this picture, I might be the one in the red to the left. And I don't know who that is. I'm in the center. Jean is on the right. And this is our house in Bethesda, Maryland. None of these films ever show the opposite side of the house. I guess most of our living was out on this side. That's John May. I also remember that one of the neighbors, cat corner across the street, had an interesting basement. Now this is these are Sheltons. This must be Jim Shelton, who's Matt Shelton's brother, and I think this is still Sarah Margaret. And now the logging trucks make me wonder if maybe this is Oregon. Although I know that for many years the Sheltons lived in Oregon, but I don't know at this particular time. So anyway, the neighbor across the street had a thing like a jukebox with a big mirror and everything, and they told me that this was a magic entrance to another world. And we had lightning bugs come out in the summer nights and light up. This is a sunset that might be. Sunsets are sometimes made worse by the equipment that does the copying. So that's could be probably recovered and made better. Now we're heading towards Hanibal, Missouri right now, which is where the Galnacks lived. I don't recognize these people. This is Jean May, my mother. And here are oil wells, and it means we probably got to California, or perhaps it is in Texas. That's Dad in his Navy uniform getting a tumbleweed. I think he probably had not seen tumbleweeds before. So now they're in Texas. And it is kind of curious why Dad would be driving across country in his uniform. Another sunset. Of course, the original reel here was lost, so I guess that loses the opportunity to redo the sunsets. Eventually we should get good recovery from this film because the blinking can be cured and the size can be made the correct size, and much of the film is good. That's Jean May. That's a geode that has been cut in half, and we own such a geode. I don't know if that's ours or not. This is the sunset. The automatic color adjustment on automatic type cameras tends to make sunsets slightly worse. Here we are at the Grand Canyon. And I think that this is one of two very different times, where in the family films we go to the Grand Canyon. This time, of course, is before Sarah was born. And one of the other times was after Sarah was born. So we moved, after the war, we moved from Bethesda, Maryland to 6057 Beck Avenue in North Hollywood, California. And I guess I was about 4 years old when we moved. And when I started the 9th grade and was about 13 is when we moved to Northridge. But anyway, this is probably our first trip across country to there we go, Los Angeles, 23 miles. And that's the end of